Are too many irons in the fire getting in the way of your family obligations?
Well, we're going to talk about that today here on My Sober Truth. Well, it's June 11th, and it's time for another double shot from My Sober Truth. John, we're talking about family obligations today, and especially in relations to recovery, making amends, and all this other stuff. And, you know, the dirty secret we kind of know on this side is that sometimes families, friends, those people closest to us, the ones we've hurt the most, they're not always the quickest to be on board with one's recovery. And so share with me your experience with this. Well,
I would say there are definitely going to be those people in your life that aren't on board with your recovery at all. You're also going to have a lot of people who love you more than anything, but you've hurt them a lot. And it's going to take some time to get over that. You know, it's the ones we hurt the most are usually the ones we loved. And it doesn't happen overnight. We were just talking right before we started filming about consistency. I mean, that's a huge key. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't get discouraged. Keep doing what you're doing, because if it's the right thing to do, then it's the right thing to do. You don't need anyone else's approval for that. Do what is going to make you a better person in the long run. And the people who need to get on board, they'll get on board. It might take some time.
You know, I always look at it like this: is when you're out using and abusing, and it's not one incident, it's not one slip and fall that ruined your reputation with your family and your friends. It's this pattern. And one way thing that we know that erases negative patterns is positive patterns. The same concept. If you're renewing your mind, changing the way you think, you start plugging in the good, it starts pushing out the bad.
It doesn't happen overnight. It happens, but it doesn't happen overnight. You know, I tell this story to people I counsel with and sponsor, you know, about how it went for me. And I'll never forget being a few months sober. I think I got a home pass from the place where I was getting help around 3 months in. And I went home to Florida to visit my folks and visit my family. And I'll never forget coming back from that and complaining to my sponsor about how hard I was trying and how good I was doing. And I don't know why they still treat me like they don't trust me. And I'm a 42-year-old man complaining that my parents don't trust me. I mean, come on. I mean, but I have no doubt there are people out there that can relate to that. But still, looking back on it now, I can see the humor in it. It wasn't funny to me at all at the time, but what my sponsor said was, you know, how long you been living this life of living the life of an addict? And I had to be honest. You know, most of my adult life, part of my teenage life, going into my young teens, even if it wasn't for drinking and drugging, I had started lying and deceiving and doing things like that. He goes, "How long you been doing it?" I'm like, "I don't know, 30 years." You know, I was 42 at the time. He goes, 30 years, that's a long time. He goes, "How long do you think it ought to take them to get over what it took you 30 years to create?" Oh man, it's going to take 30 years, you know? That truth hit home with me really fast. The truth in my case was it didn't take 30 years. But it did take some time. It didn't happen overnight. Everyone that I had wronged and hurt didn't start immediately trusting me. I had put together a pattern of someone they shouldn't trust for a long time. Well, I had to put together a pattern of someone they could trust for a long time before it all started.
It's like what we said at the beginning of this show. It's consistency, doing the right things a little bit every day along the time. That's going to show your family difference. So as we're wrapping up today, I'm going to pose a question to our viewers. And it all goes back to this whole thing about walking out of recovery and how we're doing it on a day-to-day basis. So here's the question. How are you living out your recovery in a way that shows those folks closest to you the progress you're making on your journey? Think about your question. Think about the answer to your question and put it down in the comment section below. We can't wait to read what you have to say today. And on that note, for My Sober Truth, I'm Mark.
Hey, and I'm Sean. And here's hoping that today you stay drunk with success. Love y'all.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you're thirsty for another round, then belly on up to mysobertruth.com and click on the double shot button today. There you'll find the encouragement, inspiration, and support that'll help you stay clean, on track, and prospering in every area of your life. Take a moment to subscribe to this channel, and if you got a minute, stick around. Let's watch another video together.